What's wrong with me? Why is it that I have everything, but feel like I have nothing? I'm not ungrateful. I just can't keep doing this. And no one seems to understand. Everyone else looks happy, satisfied, at peace with their lives. So why am I the only one who feels this way? Here's the truth no one tells you. You're not broken. You're becoming. The loneliness you feel isn't weakness. It's a signal. It's showing you that the life you've built no longer fits the leader you're becoming. Because when you evolve, you don't just shed old habits. You shed old identities. You shed old patterns of belonging. You shed old communities. And suddenly, the rooms you once worked so hard to enter feel foreign. The conversations feel shallow. The relationships feel strained. Not because you don't love people, but because you can't unsee what you've seen. And that changes everything. This loneliness is not punishment. It's preparation. It's the sacred in-between, the liminal space, the time when the old life no longer fits and the new life hasn't fully arrived. It feels like standing in an empty room after the music stops. It feels like silence when you're used to noise. It feels like loss. But it's not loss for the sake of pain. It's loss for the sake of space. Because something new is being born. And for the new to take root, the old has to be cleared. That's what this loneliness is doing. It's clearing the noise. It's stripping away the false belonging. It's making room for connection that actually aligns. Still, that doesn't make it easy. It can feel isolating. It can feel heavy. It can make you want to go back to what no longer fits just so you don't feel the ache. But the ache is holy. The ache is proof you're becoming. The ache is showing you that you are moving beyond surface level belonging into something deeper. And here's something that makes this loneliness even more confusing. It doesn't all hit at once. It moves in stages. The first stage is disconnection. You're still in the same rooms, meetings, and role, but you feel different moving inside them. What used to excite you in your career now feels flat. You're surrounded by people, but you feel unseen. The second stage is separation. This is where the distance grows. Sometimes you pull back from friends and coworkers. Sometimes they step away. It can feel like rejection, but it's really life creating space between who you were and who you're becoming. The third stage is solitude. This is the one most high achievers resist, because silence feels like failure when you're used to noise. But solitude is where your real voice gets loud enough to hear. It's where you stop running on everyone else's timelines and start trusting your own rhythm. And the fourth stage is alignment. This is where new connections begin to arrive. People, opportunities, and communities that match the person you've grown into, not the role you've outgrown. And know this, these stages are not here to strip away everything you've worked for. Your career, your marriage, your family, your life. They're here to help you carry those things to the next level. Awakening doesn't always mean walking away, but it does mean you can't stay the same. It means allowing yourself to grow so that what you've built can grow with you. So if you're in disconnection, separation, or solitude right now, don't assume you're stuck. You're just moving through the stages, and alignment is always on the other side. So how do you walk through this loneliness without collapsing back into old patterns? You need spiritual tools. Not to bypass the loneliness, but to companion yourself through it. The first tool is self-companionship. Learning how to be with yourself in a way that feels nourishing, not punishing. Most of us were never taught this. We were taught to measure our worth by how useful we are to others. We were taught to keep busy so we wouldn't feel the emptiness. But in this season, you're asked to sit with yourself, to take yourself on walks, to journal your truth, to speak kindly to yourself in the mirror, to reclaim the parts of you once abandoned. Self-companionship turns solitude into sanctuary. It transforms time alone from something to fear into something to savor. The second tool is sacred community. This doesn't mean you'll always walk alone. It means you're meant to walk with people who resonate at your frequency. Sacred community isn't about numbers. It's not about collecting 100 friends. It's about the 2 or 3 who see you, who understand you, who don't flinch when you speak your truth. Finding sacred community means letting go of forcing belonging in the wrong places. It means choosing depth over breadth, quality over quantity, resonance over relevance. The third tool is communion with Source, because this season is not just about losing human connections, it's about deepening your ultimate connection. Communion might look like prayer. It might look like meditation. It might look like silence under the stars. It's the practice of remembering you are never truly alone. Even when human company feels scarce, spiritual companionship is constant. Communion turns loneliness into intimacy. It transforms the ache into alignment. It reminds you that the gap you feel is not absence, it's expansion. And let me pause here to connect the dots. This is not about religion. It's about leading with your full humanity, not just your polished mask. Because leadership without soul feels empty. And loneliness in awakening teaches you that presence and alignment are not optional. They're the very things that make you trustworthy. When you learn to companion yourself, when you find a resonance instead of forcing belonging, when you lean into Source, you lead differently. You don't just manage people, you embody wholeness. And that is the leadership edge most executives miss. Self-companionship, sacred community, communion with Source. 3 tools to walk through the loneliness of transformation. And here's the beautiful part. When you practice them, the loneliness shifts. It doesn't disappear overnight, but it transforms. Solitude becomes sanctuary. Silence becomes guidance. separation becomes space for the new. And eventually, the loneliness gives way to connection. But this time, connection that is real. Connection that is aligned. Connection that doesn't require you to shrink. Because loneliness was never the enemy. It was the initiation. The proof that your soul is moving into deeper waters. Here's the paradox of awakening. The very loneliness you want to escape is the same loneliness that strengthens you. Because in that space, you discover resilience you didn't know you had. You learn to hear your own voice without the noise of everyone else's expectations. You learn to trust your own rhythm instead of running on borrowed timelines. And this matters for leadership, because leaders who have walked through sacred loneliness lead with depth. They don't crumble when the crowd turns quiet. They don't chase validation in every decision. They've built an inner anchor that makes them steady, magnetic, and safe to follow. That's the hidden gift of awakening loneliness. It forges leaders who can stand alone when needed, and then draw others into a truer kind of belonging. So if you're feeling lonely in this season, don't shame yourself. Don't think you're doing it wrong. See it for what it is. A passage, a preparation, a sacred clearing. And remind yourself of this. You are not being abandoned. You are being aligned. The loneliness is not empty. It's fertile. It's building the foundation for the relationships, communities, and purposes that will come next. So breathe. Be with yourself. Open your heart for those who resonate. And lean into the source that never leaves you. Loneliness may feel unbearable now, but it is shaping you into the leader you were always meant to be. If this resonates, subscribe. Share this with someone walking through the same season. And come back every Friday for more spiritual tools for soul-led living. Because loneliness is not failure. It's formation. It's the path that leads you home to yourself.